Good morning, students. Yesterday we have studied the variation of fluid pressure with respect to the depth. As the depth increases, the pressure increases. And we have studied what is the gauge pressure and what is absolute pressure. Okay, before we go further, let us first understand one very important law, that is for fluid pressure exerted by a fluid at rest. So this law was stated by Blaise Pascal, French scientist Blaise Pascal, and it is called as Pascal's law for fluid at rest. Pascal's law for fluid at rest. If you consider a fluid at rest, suppose this is a container in which you have taken a fluid like water. The fluid pressure in a fluid at rest is same at all points at the same height. If you consider at particular depth, the fluid pressure exerted at all the points is same. So that's what we call it as Pascal's law for fluid at rest. I'll write this statement. Pascal's law statement. The pressure of fluid or pressure in a fluid at rest. Pressure in a fluid at rest. Is same at all points at a given height. At same height. Height means, in the sense, here it is actually depth. Or I can also say that level. At a particular level, the fluid exerts a pressure which is same at all the points. For example, suppose you have taken an object here. Which is at a particular depth, say h. Then the fluid exerts pressure. The pressure exerted by the fluid on this object is the normal component of force divided by the area. So this pressure at all the points, laterally as well as front back, at all the points at the same level, the fluid exerts same pressure. But as the depth increases, we know that the pressure exerted also increases. I think you got the point. Now suppose it is a container of a certain depth of about 100, say about 50 centimeter. Suppose this is of depth depth 50 centimeter. Now if you have taken an object at about 25 centimeter, then the pressure exerted by this fluid on that object at 25 centimeter is same at all the points. So this is called as Pascal's law for fluid at rest. So pressure in a fluid at rest is same at all points at same height or at same depth. This plays a very important role. But the pressure goes on increasing as depth increases. As depth increases, the pressure also increases. This is what we saw yesterday. And we got the equation that absolute pressure absolute pressure at depth h. P equal to PA plus H rho G. P equal to PA plus H rho G, where PA is what? Atmospheric pressure. You see here the whole surface of the fluid is exerted by atmospheric pressure. The atmospheric pressure is the pressure exerted by the air column on all the objects on the surface of the earth. That is called as atmospheric pressure. And if you are finding out the pressure at depth h, the pressure at depth h due to the liquid alone, then it is H rho G. So PA represents atmospheric pressure, H rho G represents, as I said yesterday, gauge pressure. Gauge pressure. So gauge pressure is the pressure exerted by liquid alone of column of height h, and PA is atmospheric pressure. PA is atmospheric pressure, and the total pressure is called as absolute pressure, which is the sum of atmospheric pressure and gauge pressure. Sum of atmospheric pressure and gauge pressure gives us the absolute pressure or total pressure. So if you take the difference P minus PA, then it gives us H rho G. This is what we call as gauge pressure. So from this it is quite evident that as H increases, the pressure also increases. At a given height h, the pressure exerted by the fluid is same at all the points. This is the Pascal's law for fluid at rest. Now we will see a very interesting situation which is called a hydrostatic paradox. What is the meaning of hydrostatic paradox? Let us understand. Now you see in this equation, look at this equation. The pressure exerted, that is, let us say absolute pressure, or even whatever you call gauge pressure. The gauge pressure exerted depends only on h. The gauge pressure exerted depends only on the height of the column of the liquid above that particular point, right? It does not depend on the base area, or it does not depend on how much is the volume of water which is present on the top of it, how much is the volume of the column of that particular fluid present on the top of it. It depends only on the height. It does not depend on the cylindrical surface area. It does not depend on the volume also. It depends only on the column height h. So this is a very important thing to understand what is known as hydrostatic pressure, hydrostatic paradox. Let us see what is hydrostatic paradox. Now let us look at this 4 types of vessels. We have taken 4 vessels, A, B, C and D, of different shapes, and they are being connected at the bottom by a horizontal pipe. They are all connected at the bottom by a horizontal pipe. When you pour water, let us take water in this. When you go on pouring water, you will see that water goes on filling up, and after some time, if you observe, the water level in all these 4 levels will be same, because the above vessels are open to the atmosphere. All the vessels are kept open to the atmosphere. Therefore, all the water levels in these vessels are exposed to air. So the air exerts same pressure on all the water levels, and the water goes on filling up, and after some time the water maintains same level irrespective of the type of shape of the vessels. You see, this is cylindrical vessel, this is of conical shape, and this is also conical shape with a narrow mouth, and here it is of wider mouth, and here it is like pot-like structure. But in all these four vessels, the water maintains same level. Now the point to be noted down here is the reason for the water to maintain the same level is the pressure exerted by the water at the bottom of these vessels is same. This is called hydrostatic pressure. The pressure exerted at the bottom of each vessel, pressure exerted at the bottom of each vessel is same. Is same because what is the reason here? Since height of column of water, height of column of water is same, that is we have considered h. Since the height of column of water is same in all the vessels, irrespective of the types of shape of the vessel, irrespective of the shape of the vessel, the pressure exerted by the liquid is same at all the points at the bottom. So it shows that the pressure exerted at the bottom just depends on the height of the column. It does not depend on volume of water that is filled. It does not depend on the area, the cross-section area of the base. The cross-section area of the base. Here the base area is little smaller than this one, and here it is quite wider, and here it is again different. Irrespective of the area of cross-section, irrespective of the volume of water that is being taken, it depends only on the height of the liquid column. So the pressure exerted at all these points at the bottom is same, even though we have taken four vessels of different shapes being connected by common pipe. So this is what is known as hydrostatic paradox. This confirms the fact that the hydrostatic pressure, or what we call fluid pressure, depends only on the height. It does not depend height of the column of the fluid. It depends only on the height of the column of the fluid. It does not depend on how much wide the column is, how much volume is the column is. It does not depend on the volume. It depends only on the height. This is very, very interesting phenomenon. Now let us see the next one, the meaning of gauge pressure and the meaning of atmospheric pressure and the meaning of what is known as absolute pressure by solving one simple problem. Now let us quickly look at this problem. What is the pressure on a swimmer 10 meters below the surface of a lake? Let us consider this is a lake and the swimmer has gone down to a depth of about 10 meters down the water surface. When he has gone down to a depth of 10 meters down, what is the total pressure exerted on the swimmer? This is the question. Here, as I said earlier, first we should look at that. The surface of water is exerted by atmospheric pressure denoted by PA, and atmospheric pressure is a standard value. Its value is about 1.013 into 10 raised to 5 Pascal. How do we get this 1.113 into 10 raised to 5 Pascal? That we will come to know little later. Okay. Now the liquid pressure, that what we call it as gauge pressure. Gauge pressure is given by H rho G. Here rho represents the density of water. H is 10 meters. So density of water, as we discussed yesterday, 1000 kg per meter cube. 1000 kg per meter cube. And let us take acceleration due to gravity 10 meter per second square for simple calculations. Now we can calculate what is the total pressure exerted on the swimmer at a depth of 10 meter below the surface of water. Now total pressure is called as absolute pressure, P equal to PA plus H rho G. PA is atmospheric pressure 1.01 into 10 raised to 5 Pascal plus H is 10 meter into density is 1000 and then acceleration due to gravity also it is 10. So if you look at this bracket 1, 2, 3, 4 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 10 raised to 5, so it becomes 1.01 plus 1 into 10 raised to 5. If you take 10 raised to 5 as common, so that comes out to be 2.01 into 10 raised to 5 pascals. So on the surface there is 1.01 10 raised to 5. It is called as 1 atmospheric pressure. At a depth of about 10 meter, it has increased to 2 atmospheric pressure. So there is a 100% increase in the pressure. You can just see. Just above the surface of water, the pressure is exerted by the atmosphere, that is called as atmospheric pressure. That is 1 atmospheric pressure, that is 1.01 into 10 raised to 5. At just 10 meter below the surface of water, it's going to be 2 atmospheric pressure. It's a 2 atmospheric pressure. Means there is a 100% increase in the pressure. Suppose he has gone down to a depth of about 1 kilometer. What would be the change in pressure? Can you just calculate? Suppose the depth is 1 kilometer. If the depth is 1 kilometer, then what happens? If H is equal to 1000 meter, then you see here 1000 into 1000 into 10, so it becomes 10 raised to 7. 10 raised to 7, so can be written as 10 raised to 2 into 10 raised to 5. So it becomes 10 raised to 2 into 10 raised to 5, that is 10 raised to 7. So here it is 10 raised to 2 into 10 raised to 5, and here it is 1 into 10 raised to 5. So that becomes 101.01 into 10 raised to 5 pascals. It means the pressure is going to increase by 100 atmospheric pressure. I think you got the point. You can calculate. If the swimmer, sea diver, suppose he goes down to a depth of about 1 kilometer below the surface of water into a pond or into a ocean or into a river, for example, then the atmospheric pressure or the total pressure exerted on that person is going to be about 100 atmospheric pressure. So it is not a simple pressure. It's going to be very devastating. So the submarines which are designed to be inside the water, to be inside the ocean water, will be so designed that they must be withstanding such a very high atmosphere, very high pressure. Nearly about 200 or 100 atmospheric pressure about just 1 kilometer depth. I think you got the point. So the submarines are made with that particular metals and alloys so that the entire body of the submarine must be able to withstand that very high absolute pressure as well as gauge pressure. Okay. Now in the next, let us discuss about what is the meaning of 1 atmospheric pressure. Okay. Now let us learn about what is the meaning of atmospheric pressure. The atmospheric pressure is nothing but the pressure exerted by a long column of air on all the objects present on the surface of the earth. Every object on this surface of the earth is exerted by the pressure due to air. Then how is it calculated? Even our human body is exerted by atmospheric pressure. right? Now, atmospheric pressure is the pressure exerted by a long column of air extending from the surface of the earth to the highest point up to which the atmosphere extends. So it is exactly measured as, the atmospheric pressure is measured as weight of long column of air of unit cross sectional area. Weight of long column of air of unit cross sectional area extended from the bottom, from the surface of earth to the highest point up to which the atmosphere extends. That's how we define the atmospheric pressure. The atmospheric pressure is the weight of long column of air of unit cross sectional area extended from the surface of earth to the top of atmosphere. Then we can calculate, by the knowledge of the density of air of this long column, we can calculate what is the atmospheric pressure. Okay. At sea level, sea level is taken as zero level, ground level. At sea level, the atmospheric pressure is measured to be calculated to be 1.013 into 10 raised to 5 pascals. That is equal to 1 atmospheric pressure. 1 atmospheric pressure. Okay. As the height of the ground level increases, the pressure level decreases. So the pressure levels at sea level will be maximum. As you go to the places of higher and higher altitudes, the atmospheric pressure decreases. As you go to the higher and higher altitudes, to the levels of different heights of the mountains, the atmospheric pressure goes on decreasing. This is because of the variation of the height of the column of air. Second thing is variation of density of air also. Density of air also goes on decreasing as you go to the higher and higher altitudes. Now, it was first scientist, Italian scientist, by name Evangelista Torricelli. Evangelista Torricelli devised one simple way of measuring atmospheric pressure using mercury column. He took a long column of mercury of about nearly 1 meter length, 1 centimeter diameter. 1 centimeter diameter, you can just imagine, and a column of 1 centimeter diameter with a column of about height 1 meter, and he filled this tube with mercury up to the brim. He filled it up to the brim, and then he inverted that into a glass trough. When it is inverted into the glass trough, then the mercury started flowing down into the glass trough. It's very interesting. At exactly about 76 centimeter from the bottom, the mercury level stopped flowing down. So he could calculate the atmospheric pressure at sea level is corresponding to 76 centimeter of mercury level. Let us see how did he do this with a simple diagram. Let us see how Torricelli devised a barometer to measure the atmospheric pressure. He took one long tube of 1 centimeter, let us say 1 centimeter diameter, and filled it with mercury up to the brim. Filled it with mercury up to the brim. That is the reason to take mercury over here, because of its special properties. We will discuss about it later. Okay. And this you can say about 1 meter height. So column of mercury is about 1 meter. Then carefully holding it with the help of his thumb, he inverted this into a trough, glass trough. When he inverted, into the glass trough, same device, same tube, the mercury started flowing down. Mercury started flowing down the tube, and then it stopped at a particular level. And here the level of mercury naturally gone down, and exactly it stopped at about 76 centimeter. So when this height was measured at the sea level, this came down to be about 76 centimeter mercury level. So at sea level, this is exactly 76 centimeter, or you can also call it as 760 mm. 760 mm. This is also the mercury that is overflown. Mercury that is overflown. So from this level, it is suppose you have taken this point as B and this point as A. The level AB is found to be exactly 76 centimeter, and here it is exposed to air. So here the atmospheric pressure acts on the surface of mercury. This is mercury and this is glass trough, and this is the same column, glass column or glass tube filled with the mercury, filled with mercury, nearly about 1 meter. So it has stopped exactly at 76 centimeter height. What made the mercury to stop exactly at 76 centimeter? One need to think. Here, when the mercury starts flowing down, you see the mercury that is collected in this trough is acted upon by the external air pressure, that is atmospheric pressure. So it went on overflowing, and at one particular level it stopped. At one particular level, when it stops, it means what? The atmospheric pressure that is exerted on the surface of this mercury level is exactly withstanding the height of column of mercury, which is equal to 76 centimeter height of column of mercury. So this is, I think you got the point. The atmospheric pressure which is acting on this level of mercury, on the upper surface of mercury which is exposed to air, is balancing 76 centimeter column of mercury in the tube. On the upper side there is nothing. You can say there is at the most mercury vapor. This mercury vapor doesn't exert any pressure. So the pressure exerted by this mercury vapor is 0. So almost mercury vapor will be there and vacuum is there. Therefore, it is withstanding a column of about 76 centimeter mercury. And then we can calculate what is that pressure of the air which balances 76 centimeter mercury column, right? That can be calculated as 1 atmospheric pressure at sea level. This is at exactly at sea level. It differs from altitude. At Bijapur is at a higher altitude place, so it will never be 76 centimeter Hg. It will be hardly 71, 72 centimeter Hg. So there is one barometer in our physics laboratory. You can come and watch once you come to the school. It is called a 14's barometer. So every day we can watch what is the atmospheric pressure. It varies daily. It varies according to the temperature and according to the storm, according to the wind. There are various factors on which the atmospheric pressure depends. So it varies. So at sea level, it is exactly 76 centimeter Hg. Right? So then how it is 1 atmospheric pressure? So here it is H rho g, gauge pressure. H rho g is equal to the atmospheric pressure. I think we got it because on the top of it the pressure is 0. Therefore, there is no pressure here. So only the pressure acting at the level B is PA. This PA must be equal to the pressure exerted by the mercury column of height AB. AB corresponds to 76 centimeter. So PA is equal to H rho g. So if you substitute height is 76 centimeter. So 76 centimeter can be written as 0.76 meter into the density of mercury. Density of mercury is known 36.3 into 10 raised to 3 kg per meter cube. Kg per meter cube into the acceleration due to gravity 9.8 meter per second square. So if you calculate this comes out to be 0.76 into 13.6 into 10 raised to 3 into 9.8. If you calculate this comes out to be exactly 1.013 into 10 raised to 5 pascals. That is how it is called as 1 atmospheric pressure. 1 atmospheric pressure. So 1 atmospheric pressure is also equal to 76 centimeter mercury level at the sea level. 76 centimeter of mercury at the sea level. And even at the sea level also, this atmospheric pressure varies. Suddenly, suppose there is a drop in pressure, that gives a warning that immediately it's going to be a storm. If there is a drop in pressure, that is going to be weather forecast. It's going to be a storm, going to be a thunderstorm associated with rain. That is what we call as drop in pressure at the sea level. That's how it causes rains and the storm, right? So if it is 76 centimeter Hg, then there will not be any rain or any storm. So even the pressure goes on varying. Based on the variation of pressure, weather forecasting will be monitored. Weather forecasting will be done. I think you got it. Now even 76 centimeter is also read as 760 mm mercury. 760 mm mercury. Okay, both are same. We will solve certain problems based on this so that we will become familiar with this pressure H rho g. So H rho g is the pressure exerted by mercury column. This is pressure of mercury column, which is balanced by atmospheric pressure. Balanced by atmospheric pressure. Okay, now in the next session we will study how much is the column of air which is causing atmospheric pressure of about 1.013 into 10 raised to 5 pascals, that is 1 atmospheric pressure, and that is also equivalent to 76 centimeter HG. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day.